Hi folks, Tyler here. Here's what's happening at Canyon View. Coming to you today from the Welcome Center. Did you know we had a Welcome Center? We do. It's right here. And you can stop by here and find out all about what's happening here at the church. You can even get a little free gift. If you have a friend that you brought to church, send them over here. And it's a great place to get all the information about what's happening here at the church. Along with that, we got Gateway, and it's happening this Sunday here at the church over in the Fellowship Hall. You can go there, meet with some pastors, hear all about the vision and where we're going with this church, and even get a free meal. So check that out. Man, we got a lot of groups here at Canyon View, and we'd love for you to join one. This weekend is Groups Kickoff. This is a great chance you can pick up one of these, find out all the groups that are happening here at the church. You can even come out here to the lobby, and there's going to be tables set up with people, actual people who are leading these groups, and they'd love for you to join them. So we'd love for you here at Canyon View to be a part of a small group. It's a great way to build community and be a part of the church. Check them out as well. Wow. You seen the new missions corner? It's out here in the lobby. Our missions pastor, Kim Kokos, has been working hard on it, wanting to let you know of all the things we got going here at the church as far as missions go. We support some 39 ministries all over the world, and this is the place you can come find out about them. It's a great way to learn how you can support them further, how you can pray for all these missionaries around the world, and just get the information and keep up to date. Come check it out. It's going to grow. It's going to get bigger and bigger as the weeks and months go by. So come check out the Missions Corner. That's it for this week. You like the hat? Missions Corner, free for the taking. Just kidding. Leave this stuff there. Kids, don't try this at home. Hey, we want to let you know that you can always go to canyonviewchurch.com and find out all the information plus a heck of a lot more. Get signed up to online give, find out, listen to sermons, all that kind of great stuff. So go to canyonviewchurch.com. And hey, that's it for this week. Have a good one.
Welcome, everybody. It's great to have you. Our first weekend of our exploration of world religions and Jesus. And I think you guys will find this series really thought-provoking and hopefully a time that you are enabled to kind of open up discussions with friends and family members that maybe are exploring some of these other beliefs. Before I move on, though, this is Groups Weekend. If you came through the main lobby, you saw the booths out there of the various groups. And we as a church, our mission statement is to encounter God, others, in the world. And we really feel like it's very important that we be connected relationally with people in groups. And so this has a list of various groups of different topics that maybe will scratch you where you itch. And this will allow you to not only be able to grow deeper in your faith as you share these topics with fellow believers or those exploring who Jesus is together, but this will also allow you to have relationships with people in the church to give you a sense of connectedness with people that you can love and they can love you. So you have a lot to share, and I hope that you get involved in a group. So check this out as you leave the church here in the lobby, and you can see and talk to people that are leading these various groups. Okay? Can we shake our head and say, okay, Kirk, we'll do that, right? All right. Well, I hope you guys had a great holiday season, and it's great to be back after some of you got my e-letter that I sent out. Jane and I had a moment of insanity where we decided in 7 days to stay in 4 different homes on the Front Range with the family of 5, and even the first couple homes was with Wade and Chelsea, so there were 7 of us. And If you want some peace and quiet and tranquility and some time to rest and relax, don't do that. Don't do that. So anyway, as we're here back together, and it's good to be back, you guys have good holidays? All right. Are you ready for the new year? Well, as we explore these different religions, there may be a few people in here thinking, like, why are we doing this? Aren't we supposed to be talking about Jesus in the Bible? Well, we are going to talk about Jesus in the Bible. But I think there is a time in our life as we explore these different religions, it helps us to expand our understanding of what other people believe and also help us to be able to have good conversations with people. Now, there's this website called adherence.com, and they have done research, and they said that they have found that there are 4,300 different religions around the globe today. That's a lot of religions, isn't there? And so we're just studying 4 of the 23 or 4,300. We're going to be talking about Hinduism, Buddhism, and I think when we look at Hinduism and Buddhism, you'll see why we did Hindu first and Buddhism second. I'm not going to tell you what that is. That's a trailer to bring you back next week, right? The third one will be Islam, and the fourth will be Judaism. And you may be surprised to hear this, but 2/3 of the world actually don't believe what you believe if you prescribe to be a Christian. Do you know that? Although Christianity is the world's largest religion, that 33% of the world claim to be Christians, but 14% of the world claim to be Hindu. That equates to 900 million people. So let me tell you what I think is the value of doing a series like this. I think it will equip us to be able to have honest and productive discussions with people that may be exploring or actually practicing these other religions. And even in the Western Slope, here in Grand Junction, it's very possible that you could run across a person that is a Hindu or is practicing something like Hinduism or looking into Hinduism. I also believe that this will open the door for you to listen, to respect their beliefs, and also ask permission to explore who Jesus is with them together. And I think that is how we can be people that are very embracing and respectful of other people and their beliefs. And I think it's really important that we do that because, quite honestly, the church, the Christian church, hasn't been very good at doing that. I think the church has pretty much been perceived as giving a turn or burn kind of message to people that don't believe the way that Christians believe. And so if you are here and you have actually a bad taste in your mouth towards Christianity and towards the Christian church, I can understand that. And I hope that this isn't one of those kinds of experiences for you that we're saying you either have to believe this way or you're going straight to hell. Now, the other thing is that Christians have actually been viewed in the world today, in the secular world, as being very isolative, of being condemning, and not being very accepting of other people's religions and beliefs. And I hope that we as a church develop a spirit of grace. A spirit of grace in a way that we can let people know that regardless of what you believe, I love you as a person. We need to do that, don't we? We need to get better at that. And I think most of us have, maybe in our zealousness at a particular point of our faith, that maybe we have been guilty of condemning others because they wouldn't believe the way you believed. I also do want to give a very important disclaimer before we start. I am in no way, shape, manner, or fashion an expert on world religions, okay? And I know that there are professors that have studied profusely the different religions and could talk for hours over the different religions. That's not me. I just maybe am a little step ahead of most of us in this room and have done a little bit of homework that can help us. And really, the truth is, we're only scratching the surface of these different religions. There's no way that we can fully understand what Hinduism is in a 30 to 40-minute talk. There's just no way. And I can't talk that fast either. The other thing is, I really do believe that God is just such an amazing, awesome, powerful God. We cannot put God in any kind of descriptive terms that we nail it. You know what I mean? Aren't we always exploring and learning more of who God is as he reveals himself to us? The Apostle Paul in 1 Corinthians 13, in verses 9 and 12, he basically is saying that we only know God in part, and that we see in a mirror just dimly right now, but there will come a time when we go into glory that we will see God fully and completely. And so there is a possibility that many of us have misconceptions even about our view of who God is from the Christian faith. And I hope that through this discussion that you will actually learn some stuff about God and about your own faith that you didn't know before by looking at other religions. I think that's possible. It's kind of like I was thinking of if you have a car that you love, right? You did all this research and you bought this car and you spent a lot of money for this one car. And you study other cars. You kind of learn there's some things about your car that there's a reason you bought that car. Because it has some stuff way better than other cars or way different that fit your needs. I think that kind of happens when we study other religions. Now, this whole thing of Hinduism, what exactly is Hinduism? Now, Hindu is actually the Persian name of India. And the Aryan people is believed to be who shaped the whole Hindu religion and brought it into India. This was between 3800 to 2200 BC. Now, Aryan means noble people. And the Aryan people were actually a pretty influential people group that were known to be great warriors. They were highly educated, and they had a very well-developed religious and cultural system. And the influence of the Aryan people during this period of time spread all the way down into Iran and India and all the way up into Europe. And the Aryan people, actually, the name Iran is a derivative of Aryan. Now, the Aryans the Hindus were pantheistic in their beliefs, meaning that they believe in numerous gods. In fact, what we will look at is that there are actually 33 million gods and goddesses to the Hindu religion. 33 million. And later, in time, the Greco-Roman gods such as Zeus, Apollo, Aphrodite, and so forth, they actually were kind of taken out of the Hindu gods that were given through the Aryan people. Now, the Hindus actually have like a Bible themselves that's made up of numerous books. And Rig Veda is an example of these books. The Rig Veda, and if I say something that I'm butchering the pronunciation of this, I can't even say pronunciation, please forgive me in advance, okay? So I'm doing the best I can. The Rig Veda covers 1,028 chapters. And it consists of poetry, a lot like our Psalms. It also has some mythological stories as well as historical stories. And others, chapters of the Rig Veda describe the human condition and prescribe the things that we as people should live for. Now, there are four main books of the Hindu books, the Hindu scriptures, should we say. These are called the Vedic books, and they are believed to be written by the four main Vedic sages. This would be comparable to what we would call our prophets, where God spoke through the prophets to give us the scriptures. There are four main books that describe who the Hindu God is, or the Hindu gods are, and the human condition, and how we should live our life. Rig Veda is actually one of these four Vedic books. And like the scriptures, the Old Testament scriptures, long time ago, it was passed down by oral tradition, which means it would be told and memorized and then passed down through telling and memorizing through consequent generations. Now, there's later, after the Vedic books, it's called the Upanishads. And what the Upanishads were commentaries on these Vedic books that were written by the four sages. And these were written around 800 BC to a little after the time of Christ. Now, one of the revered books of poetry is called the Mahabharata. Everyone say that, Mahabharata. Now, this is a revered book of poetry which describes these epic battles. And in the Mahabharata, there's one particular book called the Bhagavad Gita, or Gita, Bhagavad Gita. And this is the most respected and revered book of all the books of the Hindu books. And one Hindu priest said that no home is complete without a copy of the Bhagavad Gita in it. Now, in the Bhagavad Gita, there is a story of interaction between a Hindu god by the name of Lord Krishna. And Lord Krishna was a human incarnation of one of the Hindu gods. And in the story, there's a man by the name of Arjuna. And so Arjuna is talking to Lord Krishna and asking him about the meaning of life and how one should live their life. And in their discussion, Lord Krishna is trying to teach Arjuna that man is called to a life of self-sacrifice and the pursuit of wisdom, which is where joy and life are to be found. Now, it's interesting when you hear something like that, self-sacrifice, the pursuit of wisdom, it's not too different than what Jesus said for us to pursue. It's kind of interesting, isn't that? So the one thing that we see in a lot of these different religions is they're seeing truths of God, but maybe not the full truth. That they're beginning to see some things that God's trying to reveal to them, but maybe Jesus is where God reveals to us fully who He is, how we should live, and where our hope is. Do you understand what I'm saying? So the Hindu beliefs, as we look at them, this is again very brief and limited in scope. Hindus believe, they do believe, and this is kind of paradoxical, and I truly don't fully understand this, but what they do believe is that there is one true God to them. That even though, like I said, there's 330 million gods and goddesses, they believe that these gods and goddesses are actually manifestations of an attribute of the one true God. Are you carrying that with me? It's kind of mind-boggling to me. And they do speak of God as singular, and their teachings do prescribe of one true God. Now, their word for God is Brahma. And they believe that God is above all, but they also believe that God is in all. And this is an important distinction. God is above all, and God is in all. And they believe that God is unknowable, that He is beyond personality, but God is holding all wisdom. And their goal is to be caught up in God, where we experience true bliss. And all of life emanates from this one God, and our soul is actually a part of God. And so we probably could take it and surmise to the point of we are actually God's ourselves because God is in our soul, that our soul is a part of God. Now, they also believe, again, here's that paradoxical side to it, they believe that God is personal, that the vast number of gods and goddesses of the Hindu gods are the way that the one true God reveals his nature to us. And so what we see is the various gods. If you would go to India, for instance, and see all the various different gods that they have that they worship, a true Hindu who's informed would say that they are worshiping that one attribute of the one true God through that one god or goddess. Our idol is another way of looking at that. It's not too different than like the Greek Orthodox Church that have the icons, that you worship the icons that reveal a nature of God. Now, that's God's nature, but what about the human condition? They describe the soul, or what they name the soul of a person is the Atman, A-T-M-A-N. And they believe that that is God within us, and that our Atman longs to be united with God. And I believe that's truly the way God created us. He created everyone, regardless of what religion you have, that you have a longing to know God, whoever your God is. And but here's the distinction here. Because God is in us, in our Atman, they believe that we are actually perfect in nature. And so they don't embrace this concept of sin that the Christians embrace. And if a person doesn't do the right thing, what they really believe is it really comes from ignorance of spiritual truth more than it being a sin nature, this fallen nature in us. So to grow spiritually is to grow in knowledge, wisdom, and understanding. And so the more we know about spiritual life, about wisdom, about these things called duties and do them, the more we do what we're supposed to do. And so the important thing is, if we have ignorance of the divine nature, then that is what causes us to do bad things. So our goal should be to grow in truth and knowledge of God and develop this divine nature within us. Now, Dharma, D-H-A-R-M-A, is what they would describe as what we would look at as salvation, of this obtaining something beyond this life. Dharma to them equals duty. And so this is where a huge distinction between Christianity and Hinduism is. Here's where we get into this whole concept of the karma. Now, the goal is to reach nirvana. And to reach nirvana, there are 4 pathways that is prescribed. 4 pathways for us to gain knowledge. Now, it's interesting when you look at this and you think about what a Hindu would say. The first thing is the study of spiritual knowledge. This is the first yoga exercise, the study of spiritual knowledge. What does a Christian do to gain spiritual knowledge? Study the Scriptures. The second thing is loving things towards God and offering worship to God. And so when we grow in our love of God as a follower of Christ, we respond through worship. It's interesting that there's some similarities here. The third thing is the certain kinds of exercises that are both physical and psycho-spiritual. So this is where we get into what we would consider in the Western mindset probably of yoga is the exercises, and I in no way am going to try to demonstrate any yoga exercises because I can't even touch my knees anymore. So this is this is maybe a form of meditation and prayer. And the fourth thing is good deeds to others, doing the right thing. And when a person follows these four pathways, what happens is then when they die, they're reborn with an opportunity to go to the higher spiritual level. And this is where we work towards becoming, growing to a state of nirvana. And I'll talk a little bit about nirvana in a second. And so what we look at here is their description of what's called karma. And you probably have heard this kind of terminology a lot, especially from people that are involved in any kind of New Age kind of belief systems. And karma is the law of works and deeds. So basically, it's pretty simplistic. It's kind of like it's important that we have good deeds and good thoughts, which creates good karma for us. But if we have bad thoughts and bad deeds, that creates bad karma. And the goal is, at the end of this life, this particular life that we are living, that we have more good than bad karma. And so what would happen is when we die, our soul, our Atman, is then reincarnated through another form of life, and then we have the opportunity to have higher karma in that life. And what they also do believe is if we have more bad karma than good karma, then that's what brings suffering into our life. And so they would probably prescribe the thought that if a person gets in a car accident and gets hurt, or if a person gets a diagnosis of having something like cancer, it's because of too much bad karma in their life. So if we have enough good karma, the goal is to go through so many cycles of life and keep going to a higher form of spiritual existence that we get to the point that we are finally set free from this cycle of life, death, reborn into a next life, and cycling through. And this is reincarnation of the soul. The goal is that we eventually grow to the state of nothingness. And that's what nirvana would be. So this reincarnation of the soul, they believe that our soul, or Atman, starts in a very simple form of creation, and as we go through that life cycle and have enough good karma, then we go to a next cycle and go on and on and on. That's why in India you will see cows walking in the streets, monkeys playing around, that nothing is killed because their belief is that even a cow has somebody's Atman in it, somebody's soul. You understand what I'm saying? And so you don't kill that because there is this kind of sacredness of all life forms. Wouldn't go well here in the Western Slope with all of us hunters, would it? Myself included. That's what brings the caste system in India. The Dalits that DJ and Vanessa went and helped build the school for the Dalits because they are viewed as the lowest human caste system. And the Dalits are actually called the untouchables because they believe that their karma is so bad, they are the lowest caste system, and they have actually no rights as people and live a life of extreme poverty and suffering because it's the view that they just have bad karma. But then the Brahmas is the highest caste system. These are like the priests that have the highest karma, good karma of people in their caste system. So anyway, the goal is, as we move up the spiritual cycle, we want to get to that place of nirvana. Now, salvation is termed moksha. And this comes when we finally attain enough knowledge that we have basically exercised and eliminated all bad karma from our life. And so it's really up to us. how much good karma can we develop and be good enough that we have actually no bad karma at all within us. And so that would mean that you would have